We're going to start off with Aaron Rodgers and the Jets. The Jets, you got to feel bad for their fans. It's like torture. Look, if there's someone who knows what it's like to be tortured over and over by his sports teams, that would be me. As you can see, I'm a Seattle Seahawks fan. They won a Super Bowl. They haven't tortured me that much. They're the one team that has brought me a lot of joy in my life. If you see behind me, I got two things here. Tottenham Hotspur, my favorite European soccer club. Watch almost every match. They've done nothing but torture me. They find ways to lose that I couldn't imagine, that are unfathomable. They invent ways to let me down. As you continue to see, I have a Seattle Supersonics jersey. The Sonics were my favorite team growing up. I loved NBA basketball, and the team eventually moved to Oklahoma City. That's bad, as you can imagine. You have your favorite team, and they end up leaving. Like, how much more could you be tortured than that? And then up there, you can kind of see it pointing at it in that direction. It's Felix Hernandez's perfect game. Maybe the best moment the Seattle Mariners had until they made the playoffs in all of the 2000s, after 2001, of course. They've known how to torture me too. So it brings me to the New York Jets. Aaron Rodgers said he doesn't want to play in a city, doesn't want the city to be okay with being mediocre. The Jets wish they were mediocre. The Jets have been one of the worst franchises in NFL history. And for Aaron Rodgers to go from one of the best franchises in the history of the NFL, of the Green Bay Packers, and then go all the way down to the New York Jets, is nothing short of a huge downgrade. It's a downgrade, plain and simple. The Jets, well, they haven't really been relevant other than a couple of years with Rex Ryan and Mark Sanchez. The team has gotten stars like Brett Favre to leave the Packers, ironically, to go to the Jets before he went to Minnesota. I feel like that was like the forgotten year of Brett Favre. And they still didn't win shit. They bring in Aaron Rodgers. A couple plays into his first season with the Jets, he tears his Achilles. I don't know if the Jets are cursed or Aaron Rodgers just made a bad decision. But the Jets know about being a franchise that is filled with curses, a franchise that is filled with disappointments, and a franchise that's literally never won anything. If you go, a lot of times when you travel around the world or the country, you meet people. And you sit there, you ask them, "Hey, where are you from?" I tell them I'm grew up in Seattle. They'll tell me, "Hey, are you a Seahawks fan? Are you a Mariners fan?" And you kind of, find that connection that sports does. It connects you with people. If you meet someone from New York, well, usually it's a melting pot, so they can be a fan of, many teams around the world. But immediately you probably ask them about football. Are you a Jets or Giants fan? If they say Jets fan, you kind of say, "Hey, I'm sorry." Being a Jets fan is not for the faint of heart. And it just makes me wonder, did Aaron Rodgers make a horrible decision by deciding to hitch his wagon at the end of his career to the New York Jets? It's interesting, right? Because this part of his career is very crucial. Aaron Rodgers' legacy is really, really set right now. He's a great quarterback, probably a top 10 quarterback of all time, won a Super Bowl with the Green Bay Packers. But imagine if he went somewhere else, a good franchise like Tom Brady. I mean, Tom Brady took the Buccaneers, who were not a great franchise, but they are a franchise who've had flashes in the pan and got him a Super Bowl. Aaron Rodgers goes to the Jets. It's just not the same because his legacy is on the line here. This season is very important for Aaron Rodgers, the end of his career. You look at someone like Matthew Stafford. He leaves the lowly Detroit Lions and then resurrects his career with the Rams and wins a Super Bowl. And this year, the Rams should be pretty loaded, and he might have a chance to go make another deep playoff run. Complete opposite of Aaron Rodgers if they don't make the playoffs nor make a deep playoff run. Aaron Rodgers needs this for his legacy. He needs the Jets to do well because it can change the whole thing. Like, people might laugh at this, but look at the careers of Rodgers and Matt Stafford. If Matt Stafford wins another Super Bowl, we can start arguing that he has a higher career than Aaron Rodgers. Somehow Rodgers, with all his accolades, all his amazingness, he's been to one Super Bowl and won one Super Bowl. At least Brett Favre has been to multiple. And it makes me wonder, who is better all time in their career, Brett Favre or Aaron Rodgers? Sure, maybe Aaron Rodgers' arm talent and stats are better than Brett Favre, and Brett Favre have kind of had his weird moments outside of football here in the last few years. But in a weird way, if you ask me, it's Brett Favre. Unless Aaron Rodgers makes a big run here with the Jets. At least Favre went to Minnesota and took Minnesota to places they probably couldn't imagine. He was one dumb pass away from making the Super Bowl. Aaron Rodgers' biggest moment on the Jets, probably his interview with Tucker Carlson. And I'm not a hater of Aaron Rodgers, by the way. Actually, I know Aaron Rodgers can be kind of weird and kind of a diva to a lot of people. I think Aaron Rodgers is a lot more like me and you than most NFL quarterbacks. He questions authority. He's not a yes man. He wants to do good. He wants to make a change. He's more like a podcaster sometimes than an NFL quarterback. He even talks about running for vice president of the United States of America. I like Aaron Rodgers, but I question sometimes his decision making. I question his ability to not want to be part of the crowd. Because going to the New York Jets, he's basically asking himself to be the messiah of the franchise. And the messiah of the New York Jets is a hard place to be. The messiah of a Jets team that is this bad, it's really difficult. If Aaron Rodgers does it this year and the Jets go on a huge run, more power to him. Aaron Rodgers will have cemented his legacy as a top 5, 6, 7 quarterback of all time. Shit, if he wins the Super Bowl with the Jets, you might have to put him in your Mount Rushmore of all-time quarterbacks. But Aaron Rodgers right now, you are asking yourself a tough, tough task because Jet fans, they've been tortured for years and there's no signs of it going the right way.